This is a clouds weather alert.
Good, very early Sunday morning. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center right now with a tornado warning in effect for parts of southwestern Georgia here at about 3:15 a.m. Confirmed tornado being indicated by the Doppler radar, the National Weather Service in Tallahassee here over the last little bit further back toward the west. We need folks to take shelter immediately here in southwestern Georgia. Potentially a tornadic scenario headed in your direction. Under the rotation here right now as we kind of squeeze in a little bit. Doesn't look quite as tight as it's just there right before it gets into toward our viewing area right now, just into Alabama. And we had those terrible tornadoes in Tennessee back on that Saturday. Media reports there at least 6 fatalities, so destroyed, tragic. But the threat lower here, but there's a tornado watch in play that got issued just a little while ago for some of our southwestern Georgia counties to 9 a.m. We'll get to that here in a moment. But I know this looks pretty weak at this moment, which is good. But we have to just be careful. They just issued this tornado warning. It's for this area of spin here. And it's kind of right in here. It hadn't quite crossed into our viewing area yet. Hadn't quite crossed into the viewing area. But it is very close. Of course, it's our policy here to be on when there's a tornado warning storm moving through any one of our 62 counties here. And we're just about to get it to move in right now. I know we had a confirmed debris signature earlier on with this as it was back a little bit further off toward the west, off toward the south, out of the viewing area. But again, a tornado warning effect, so you need to seek shelter inside that sturdy building. Get as many walls between you and the outside as possible. Protect yourself from flying debris by putting on a bicycle helmet right now toward parts of Clay and Quitman counties in Georgia. Not Clay County, Florida, Clay County, Georgia here. This rogue area of storm acts and rogue area of rotation has prompted a tornado warning here for parts of the area. So let's go ahead and zoom back on. I don't know, it's the middle of the night and we hate waking people up if they're not in the path of this, but we have to be on right now because folks are in the path of this here within our viewing circle. This is just about to cross on in there. You can see there the water body as we get in toward from the central time zone to the eastern time zone here. So this warning, we're seeing this pink box that indicates the confirmed nature of things. I know earlier on we saw this here on this radar here, the Southeast Alabama radar. I'm going to go back a little. You'll be able to see how we kind of had this develop. We had a debris signature pop up right in there northwest of Abbeville. I know it's kind of, that's a lot of inflow in there, but back out here, we kind of saw that debris signature really manifest itself. I know it kind of dumps around some, so let me load the frames in between here as we kind of look, but again, kind of just looking there, you can see it pretty clearly, not much, I mean, a little bit there, but then right in here, we had a tornado there, County Road 54, and then you can kind of see how that was tracking out here into our southeast Alabama. Now that's moved away, but it's moving toward and into toward our area, that potential threat. Right now I don't see a clear debris signature with this, but we have to just be kind of careful here. Anything could happen. It's really the rotation now probably just starting to get in the viewing area as we speak. It's ready to run just a little behind. Just updated this from about a minute ago. And you can kind of see here from about a minute ago, we're seeing some of that green and red. It's not very tight right now, but it's just crossing in here toward Georgia. So again, let's go ahead and see where we're at with this. Let me go ahead and kind of go over to another perspective that we have here. We'll go ahead and go to this broad view, and you can see that pink box in our far western, northwestern county that's within that tornado watch. It goes into 9 a.m. I know we're even getting a rogue storm there on Mobile now. Southeast of town, it looks like. That could become an issue for some folks. There's not a tornado possible tag on that, though. I know tornado watch down that way, but we'll just have to watch this. Things kind of evolve. It's kind of tricky because we don't have much anywhere close to the area that looks too robust, except this rogue storm that has a tornado warning with it. So there's a chance, maybe a decent chance, we get some rest here in between for a few hours before we have to deal with the main event further back out toward the west. But right now, we have a tornado that has a history here of actually occurring in toward Alabama versus just a radar indicated tornado threat. They're now going to radar indicated in the latest updated text of the one. I agree with this here because we're not really getting any confirmation right now based on radar or no spotter reports coming in, nothing like that. But again, The latest update just coming. You see the box trimmed back a little bit. 3:01 Eastern Time. It's a big thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. Is located 8 miles south of Georgetown, moving northeast at 30 miles an hour. So we have areas like Coach, Wire Bridge, Bagby State Park, over toward the Bonaparte's Retreat, Hatcher, Crossroads, Rick's Place. So again, a storm. We earlier had a tornado with it for certain based on that every signature, but now a little bit less likely. The box still stays pink because that's just how it works in this situation. Once it's confirmed, it doesn't revert back necessarily, but rotation definitely looks weaker as it just starts to move into our viewing area right now here at about 3:03 in the morning. So again, you can kind of see here we're crossing over. It looks like a state road 39 here pretty soon. Again, we're just going to continue to watch things, continue to track. Again, it looks pretty broad. Honestly, I would not expect this warning to continue at this point. Now, I was kind of wondering if they had actually issued further off here in the area or not. We were watching it. I was watching it here in the Weather Center, but it was looking a little bit weaker. But I know the Birmingham office issued a warning, and then they wanted to close in the gap. Saw some stuff there on radar that they didn't like. Confirmed tornado as indicated by them just a little while ago. So they issued a small area of warning here as we're looking at things, to kind of back it up a little bit. It was kind of tricky because you see that green and red kind of escaped the polygon to the south, and then that's actually Birmingham jurisdiction, that one little box, and now back in the Tallahassee jurisdiction, but this one's within our viewing area, unlike the Alabama only warning that was issued by them earlier for the confirmed tornado, which was not in our area. Wasn't a big national threat necessarily, like what we saw toward Nashville there. We had to cut in, especially with the history of what we had earlier on in Middle Tennessee on that Saturday, and we ended up unfortunately having fatalities there as we were looking there in the Nashville metro, according to media reports. There's some very sobering stories coming out of that area. As we go ahead and see, we're getting an update from the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma right now. So let's see what they're telling us here. I know, again, it seemed that our bigger threat in terms of just more organization before the West doesn't mean the tornado threat couldn't be higher in the lead activity when you have more rogue cells here, but it seems like we're not getting much other development right now, but out ahead, we'll just have to keep watching. But they're saying a small linear complex on Prediction Center continues to move east and northeastward across part of eastern Alabama into western Georgia, and damage and winds that remain a primary concern for this short line segment. And then isolated supercells across southern Alabama into the northern Gulf of Mexico. We have those in a low-level warm convection regime that have a loosely organized line of showers and thunderstorms. And a few tornadoes remain possible, at least for a couple more hours early this morning. Eastern extent of severe risk into south. Really, central Georgia remains constrained by more limited low-level moisture and related boundary layer instability. So, at least it's not a huge threat, but any tornado in the night here, any tornado at all, but especially in the night here when folks aren't awake, is problematic. So we got to be really careful. We have a tornado warning for parts of the area. That's what that pink box is in our far northwestern counties right now. We have the local red alert alert mode after what we were starting to see develop there in Ward, Tennessee. We turned that right before a special report there Saturday evening, and right now, situation we have a local tornado warning in those far northwestern southwest Georgia counties of Clay and Quitman here for another 9 minutes or so. I know our timing of the storms here are probably more towards sunrise for most of us outside of the rogue activity in the western counties, toward north central Florida, not till the afternoon probably, that we'll really see anything that come into play. So, we'll just continue to track things. I know this tornado watch up here does go all the way through the Macon area, so that's interesting, but not in Albany. It's kind of just in our far northwestern areas here. We cover a large area with our commitment always for wall-to-wall type of live streaming coverage here, at least with the going there on all the different sources. 4 to 62 counties have done it for 4 years now with at least a live stream. Sometimes we'll take a break, of course, catch our breath, but I have a stream going once that tornado warning or tornado situation comes into play here. Sometimes we're ahead of it. It just depends on exactly the timeline with thunderstorm warnings and where they're at within the area. population density, but we're always on. We've been on for every tornado warning storm to move through our 62 counties over the last 4 years, and we're on again here. Unfortunately, having a threat here in the middle of the night on this early Sunday per se, as we're looking toward parts of Clay and Quitman counties. So again, that's why we're here right now. It's about protecting you, your friends, your family. There's not a lot of population in here. I'm going to zoom in. I keep zooming in. We're not really seeing any city names pop up. That's good, but it's territory. Even if it's pretty rural, there are some roads in here. And it's within our 62 counties, parts of Clay and Quitman in here until about 3:15 this morning. So you just have to take that very seriously here, what we're dealing with, and toward some of these zones as we go ahead and give you guys the very latest. The rotation looks pretty broad in nature right now, but we just have to respect the polygon here right now. As meteorologists have said here in the past, like James Spann, you just have to be really cautious here. When you have one of these warnings in place, the rotation is just passed over State Road 39, it would look like here. And again, we're not seeing many roads pop up here of real big ones per se, but again, we're just continuing to give you guys the very latest. I mean, not many folks maybe are really even aware of this because this is all kind of in an area here that, I mean, to be quite honest, I mean, I don't know for sure, but I would guess just rural out here, we might even have issues like cell phone service in some of these spots. I mean, it's not out of the question. So we're in really rural territory right now in southwestern Georgia, but again, it's our commitment to be on for every tornado warning storm over our 62 counties over the last 4 years, plus the big national threats, but we've been on for every single tornado warning storm to move to the 62 counties over the last 4 years, and just have to kind of continue to take precautions here. Let me go ahead and go to our other screen here right now. We're going to go ahead and pull up these tornado safety tips here. Again, a tornado warning means the tornado has been detected using radar spotted. Want to seek center net at 30 building, get as many walls between you and the outside as possible, and protect yourself from flying debris if you think you need to. Some of these stronger than others. This looks pretty weak right now, honestly, but if you are faced with this type of scenario, make sure you put that bicycle helmet on or that football helmet on. So again, it's 3:10 in the morning right now on this Sunday. I'm meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center. Again, it's something that we're looking at December 10th here, and we're having to deal with a threat. And again, it looks very broad. I would really doubt that they'd extend this. And maybe they go with a thunderstorm warning here. I mean, let me check base velocity. There may be enough wind in here to extend with the thunderstorm warning tornado possible tag. Looking more into Quitman County than Clay County, Georgia at this point. But I mean, eventually it's going to get into the Peachtree City jurisdiction up here, and that's outside of our covered area. So kind of jumping around here a little bit. Going to be outside of the Tallahassee, I mean, polygons that have to issue a separate one up there if they want extended it too far, but could be another one where they just issue a little out and then it kind of goes away here for a while. And the stuff back to the west, sometimes we see stuff pretty organized. Right now, you have to get west there of Brewton, Alabama to really see some stuff. And that would take, let me see here the distance. I mean, that's northeast at 35. If we don't get stuff to develop in between, which is possible, let me just see how long that would take to get into our viewing area. Some of that stuff as I kind of measure that on out here this morning. Again, I mean, that's probably 3 hours. So, again, just measuring that out 3 hours or so before that would get into our area. So, again, that's something to kind of keep our eyes on. Let me go ahead and see where we're at with another mode of our technology. So we have the supercell composite here. I know we're over 1. That's enough this time of year. It's a high shear, low cape type environment. And especially in the middle of the night, you wouldn't have too much instability in general. But the temperatures here are a story to some degree. It's very warm for this time of year. And they're letting that warning go. As of 3:15, it's going to be out of there. I know technically it's going to go for a few more minutes, even though it's not on the screen. So we'll stick with it for a few more minutes and just make sure we don't have another one pop up. But it looks like that's going to go away. But definitely looking through our parameters here, a lot of the parameters still more off to the west, and they can move in later. Significant tornado parameter is kind of scattered. They're not really high in the values of that. And stability, I mean, it's there more than you would like for this time of year, honestly. Because I mean, right now it's really low energy out here, and it's moving into an even lower energy environment. But for this time of year, I mean, we get supercell composite here, and energy to collide enough, per se, come together enough, interact enough per se. That's problematic. I mean, if we get more of this later on in the morning, as we get closer to sunrise and get this pattern to kind of push in, we might have more concerns on our hands. So just kind of stay tuned here, because this is higher instability back to the west still. We'll just have to wait and see. Stuff could get more linear now with limited tornado threat, but again, don't let your guard down here then, because this is honestly a little bit higher energy than what I would like to see based on the shear pattern here, the wind shear. And that could lead to some problems, because these are some very warm temperatures for this time of year. It's going to be in the 30s as we look here for Monday morning. It's such a huge temperature contrast. You can see the wind shift back out toward the west here. I mean, it just really tells a story. Pretty strong system for sure. Dew point wise, these are numbers that are very sufficient for activity that can be dangerous in nature here. So, with the right parameters in plan, we have quite a few of them. So, need to just be kind of careful here. Need to just be kind of careful as we're looking at things. As I keep on going through all our different informational sources. Again, let me just go ahead and check some things here. I think we want to go ahead and put on our outlook for the day ahead, because that'll be helpful for the viewers here that are tuning in right now. I know we have that slight risk further on up toward the north here. Not in our area, up toward Myrtle Beach and getting closer to areas of Wilmington. You kind of have the idea of that way. But down here toward the south is a marginal risk for almost all of us, except for looks like maybe a little bit of Flagler. I mean, you don't want to get too particular with this, because even last Saturday didn't have the rest for a while for the eastern areas, and that's where we got the bulk of the warnings, even though it didn't have too much damage. So everybody's got to be on guard here. The tornado threat would generally be a little bit more toward Tallahassee and Waycross and Brunswick, you would think, but you never know. Perry is in it too. Areas hit by Idalia so hard down that way, and the wind risk goes down. It's just a marginal, but when I say just a marginal, you never know. We have marginal here overnight. We had a storm that had produced a tornado trying to come into our area, so it's weakened down now some. It's 3:15, so we're in a situation here where things are not being extended here at this point, which is good. You see some stuff on the infrared satellite further back here. We'll keep our eyes on the overall pattern. When stuff's broken apart like that, that can be problematic at points here. So definitely just continue to pay attention. We'll wrap it up here soon unless we get some new information that says that we need to stick with this. But right now, I don't even see, and they may go with significant weather advisory, but right now, I don't even see one of those coming on out. So that's a good sign here. They may very well go with one of those, just in case they're debating between that or a thunderstorm warning. We're seeing winds 45 miles an hour in here right now based on radar. That makes sense for that type of alert. I know going back in the summertime, we had that period where we're just getting thunderstorm warning after thunderstorm warning. And it was just really crazy here. Right now, I'm not going to have a pattern here that's going to last too long. After today, after the afternoon is over here, our eastern areas even should be clear of the threat, you would think here based on the model guidance. I mean, it could get close to evening, but then again, by tomorrow morning, we're going to be in the 30s in some areas. Monday morning, that's a huge change. Even some snow in the word, like there. Some of the models are showing far north Georgia, but North Carolina here, talking about some of those areas could definitely have that snow potential. Tennessee, some of those areas here, maybe just off to the east of the worst tornado danger could get into that, depending on exactly how it sets up. I know that Jaguar game up in Cleveland today, Jacksonville Jaguar NFL game on this Sunday, could have some snow action a little bit. We'll see. May not be much. Could be more rain. The temperature's going to be right on that kind of line there between whether it's snow, rain, kind of. We'll have to just wait and see. But have a little bit of thunderstorm action here in Quitman County, but no active warnings any longer. And a little bit of lightning showing up, as I was alluding to. Let's go ahead and see the tornado watch, since we're on with this right now. Again, the tornado watch is in the yellow here, and that goes into 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central is the one that goes just east of Pensacola. Looks like they've extended that south. Maybe, maybe not. Okay. Yeah, they just added that to the mobile office here toward Pensacola over the last little bit. So that's kind of a storyline there. This goes all the way up toward just west of Atlanta. So again, we'll just have to kind of keep checking on things here. We're going to be here in the Weather Center. I'm going to be paying attention. We're going to be monitoring things. And let me just, if there's any questions or comments, I know it's the middle of the night. We only break in when we have to, and when there's a tornado warning within our 62 counties, we have to. So policy, and that's what we were doing there. It wasn't the most impressive. We had the history of the tornado further back, but that's weakened on now. But of course, you can get it covered on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch at the website at clutter.com. Interactive radar, we're not on the areas at clutter.com/radar. So some important stuff to kind of keep in mind here as we're looking at things this morning. Again, let me just see if there's anything new here. If we have any questions or comments from any of the viewers at home, might be kind of interesting just to get an idea on that here. I'm just going to kind of go through some stuff real quick behind the scenes, so bear with me to see if there's anything here that could help us out in this type of circumstance here. Again, let me just kind of get an idea here. Okay, looks like I don't have too much, but we have Elisa watching. Thanks so much, Elisa, for watching here in the wee hours of the morning. So I know kind of just it's a situation here we have to be on guard, even in the middle of the night when folks, including me, are just trying to kind of get a little rest, and I'll probably do that here again soon. But right now, just making sure we're on top of things. We have everything on our systems on, just like everybody there stood at home, having multiple ways to get alerts here during the night when most folks are asleep. So if we have more warnings, we'll break back in here for a tornado warning for our area. If it's a severe thunderstorm situation, we'll make sure to at least post on Twitter and Facebook, X/Twitter and Facebook. But many times we'll have to come on for those if they're within our counties as well. Not always. We use our discretion, but tornado warnings, that's not something we can use our discretion on. We have to come on when that's a threat toward and going to move in toward or already is within our 62 counties. So, again, that'll do it for now. We're going to keep watching here. And you can see right now, no active local warnings of that tornado watch to 9 a.m. We'll see if they extend that later on in the morning. It's possible. Maybe not really likely, but it would at least be one of those, maybe a 40% type of chance here that they extend that further on out. It kind of depends on what happens here in the night. If we really get a bunch of rogue storms, or if we get a squall line, then maybe they go with a severe thunderstorm watch. You never know. That'd probably be a little less likely, but you never know here in this type of situation. Probably if they were going to issue a watch, they just err on the side of caution with enough rotation and go with tornado watch. But it's more about the warnings here. That means something actually is happening, or radar says it could be happening versus the watch. So this is kind of a breakdown there in that regard. So we're going to go ahead and try to take a break for now. If we need to come back on, we'll be here for you guys. So keep it tuned to cloud weather. But for now, we'll leave you with this radar review. No active local warnings. We'll be watching. We'll be tracking. Stay safe out there. Have multiple ways to get alerts. And we'll be giving you guys the latest as necessary.